Let's make sweet, sweet profit together. Let's make sweet, sweet profit together. Is that your wallet? Or are you just glad to see me? Both, I hope. Let's make sweet, sweet profit together.
Yo, 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 boys and girls, good morning. Thank you very much for the early love. Appreciate it. See if I can remember how to do this, shall we? I need to turn off the YouTube voice. YouTube voice, go away. Hello, hello, hello. Hype train to start the stream off. How about that? Boys and girls, thank you. Mr. Norton, Euclid, Satyrian,
Sweet,
Sigma, Loot Fever. Oh my god, you're all turning up. Thank you, boys and girls. Appreciate it. It's close. It's close. We can basically start counting down the hours almost. There's an actual train. Yeah, all aboard. All aboard. Hop on. Professional streamer. I wouldn't go that far. Chat, I've actually got no idea what I'm doing today. I have strategically tried to structure things in a way where I have today and tomorrow to basically turn off content creation brain and just like chill with you lot. That's the plan at least. Let's turn the tunes down just a bit in the background. I think, to be honest, the next the next 48 hours. Actually, what I should do is load retail. I should load retail actually for a minute, and we should have a little bit of a look if there's actually anything that's worth doing in retail before midnight actually goes live. I've not logged on to retail like properly for ages. Literally ages. Who we got here this morning though? A1. Dog Loot Fever, Mr. Norton, Goldson, welcome in. Good morning, good morning. Chalida with the 31. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. All aboard, boys and girls. Well done. Appreciate it a lot. Feeling unprepared. All the decor selling distracted me from doing anything midnight related. You and me both. You and me both. I can attest to that one.
You just glad to see
Euler with a 14.
Both, I hope.
Thank you, boys and girls. Whoa, look at this train go. Choo choo. Choo choo. The should we talk about the should we discuss the elephant in the room? Should we discuss the elephant in the room? This flipping epic profession changes. Oh boy. Oh boy. Fused vitality changes was wild. Yeah, they and then they doubled it. Oh boy. That's going to be an interesting one, isn't it? It's going to be a real interesting one. After yesterday doing the napkin maths, going like, okay, two professions, 6 pieces of epic gear. It's going to take, 1 per week, 6 weeks to get it all done. No. Blizzard were like, no, clearly doesn't take long enough. No, the grind isn't real. This is Blizzard. 1, add profession-specific Moxie to solve all of the profession shuffling. 2, remove Moxie from profession gear, the one thing where it actually mattered. Yeah, it's fun, isn't it? It's fun. Too big of an elephant. Humongous elephant. Spent the whole evening yesterday splitting professions because of the new change to Fused. Well, I spoke about this. I mean, I've just put a video out on YouTube, a part 2 to the drama, where the basics revolve around you're just going to have to do one processing type thing with one of your professions and one work order build. That's going to be your only way to circumvent the need to have epic tools on both professions. It does a good job, though, of keeping the rare profession tools, useful, being a thing, I suppose. There's crafting gear progression. Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to stand out. I think the sensible thing from now will be to get your rare profession tools ASAP, and then where necessary, work towards your epic ones. The work order build work order builds are chilling though. Work order builds don't care about any of this. Work orders don't need. Work order builds don't need the epic stuff, really, which is nice. Russ, thank you very much. Good morning. Appreciate the sub. Good morning, good morning. Yeah, it's going to be fun times. It's going to be fun. It's going to be very fun. Zaya with a prime as well. Thank you, boys and girls. I hope I don't miss any of these. You're actually smashing it out of the park. Jargist as well with the 19. Welcome back. Thank you. Thank you. For reference, look at the size of this train. You're all aboard. You're all aboard. For reference, my hiatus from streaming, the plan was 3 days. It lasted a little bit longer than 3 days, didn't it? I apologize. It lasted a little bit longer than 3 days, but I got busy. I got deep into the weeds and I got busy. I hope it's all for good reason. Don't be glazing me here, but have the Discord mini guides been helpful? I wanted to put something basic in place should we say, Amantheus twist on some mini Wowhead guides, I guess, within the Discord. I'm hoping those basic mini guides are useful. They were something I wanted to do in the War Within, but obviously, you know, the huge advantage of that sort of stuff is very early on in the expansion, so I just kind of sidelined it and waited for midnight. I hope they're useful. I think it's better this way than everybody having epic tools day one. Oh, I agree. Like the downside, the downside is that you go from needing to put basically no effort in to get max build to now having to put a lot of effort in. Flipping hell, this train. It's covering the screen. I'm going to need to move me out the way in a second. Thank you, boys and girls. Who was that? Who was that? Zebbles with Prime. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah, I hope the Discord mini guides were useful.
Is that your wallet? Are you just glad to see me? Both, I hope.
Gets you up to speed at least, I hope. Go down with the what's going on this morning? I'm going to have to take 2 weeks off streaming more often. This is ridiculous. Thank you, boys and girls. Thank you.
Is that your wallet?
Chris as well. The 23-month streak.
Both, I hope.
My man. Need to invest in an ultra-wide monitor for the train. It's nearly off the screen. I genuinely don't think we've ever had a hype train this big. So thank you, boys and girls. Let me give you, if you there are Twitch drops for the launch on Friday, by the way. Just, you know, hold off on the subs maybe until Friday. Because there's a 2 gift sub drop happening on Friday. Is that public? I think it's public. If it's not, I apologize. But there's a gift sub promo for the launch of early access. 2 gift subs, you get a cool little pet. So save it till thank you, but save it till Friday because you'll get a little pet out of it as well. It is now. I think it's public. If it's on Wowhead, it's public. Although Wowhead has been pretty slow with the news, I've noticed. Or it might be, I don't know. Haven't heard of. Oh, well, you know now. Come Friday, come launch of early access, gift 2. Let me see if I'll just show you. I don't care. I'll just show you. Where's it gone? Where's it gone? Oh no, it is public. It is public. They published it a couple of days ago. I just missed it. It's fine. It's fine. Save your subs for Friday, as it should help you with this. There's the support a streamer thing kicking off on Friday. You get this fella. It's similar to how they run most of their promos at the launch of the expansion. 2 gifted subs and you get yourself this cool little pet. So yeah, I appreciate the love. Save your subs for Friday if you want the pet. I'm pretty sure a regular sub counts as 1. I don't think it has to be 2 subs over and above your normal. User must purchase and gift a cumulative total of 2 subscriptions. Yeah, so you can use yours and I guess 1 other probably. Oh, primes are excluded. Ooh, okay, gross. But this kicks off on Friday. Went out shopping, bought some Monsters, crisps, candy. Feel like a kid on summer holiday. Yeah, I need to do... Hang on, get my camera out of the way. Move you up here. Brain's in the way. I need to I need to go do a shop. The wife is in the office today. Yo, Tink, welcome in. Welcome in. Oh, use undercoins. That's also a very good plan. Tink, welcome in. Thank you very much for the raid. Thank you for bringing yourself and your crew. I appreciate if you need to raid and run. I imagine it's quite late for you. Thank you, thank you. Appreciate that. I'm not doing anything constructive. Welcome in, streamers, by the way. Welcome in, raiders. I'm not doing anything constructive at the moment. This is my first stream back in about 2.5 weeks, so I'm just catching up with people. And we'll do a bit of a Q&A on all things midnight, I guess. 350. Wait, what? Parking all your 350 alts next to the Silver Moon portal for the quick bag farm. That's your day one farm route. Holy. Choo, choo. There he goes. The train is off. Thank you, boys and girls. Appreciate that. What a cracking way to start the stream back. Love that. Thank you. Let's move me back down into the corner. Yeah, I haven't really got any plans for today for the stream, other than just to make sure I remember how we do this. The guild, I guess we can use we can use today as just a filthy guild promotion day. No refunds. Is the Where's the button? Where's the button? Where's the recruitment thing? Is the recruitment open? Yeah, it's listed in the guild finder. No refunds, crafting guild. If you want easy access to either craft some gear for other people or to get some gear crafted, namely profession tools during early access, hop in the guild. Hop in the guild. The concept of the guild is to craft shit for others, you know. Goblins helping other goblins out. That's the concept. No refunds is up and running. Preferably don't, you know, you can bring your alts, you can invite your alts in if you need, but, you know, don't invite all 350 of your level 8, you know. Be sensible about it. Characters that have got some level of expertise, you can bring them in, you can craft a few things, you can snag a few orders if you wish. Let me go grab my coffee. Hang on, please hold. Yeah, that little material bag thing. That'll be some good easy materials on day one. You just literally drag in all of your characters. I mean, there's the possibility of doing that, isn't there? There's the possibility I could do that. They're only normal quality mats, but before most people have had an opportunity to get in, do some farming, it could really help with even just throwing it all in the war bank and use it yourself, maybe. I don't know. I'm not sure what the plan is there. For reference, can we get the beta open as well? Let me change my graphics settings so I don't completely nuke my PC. Hang on. Oh, we're already on Lobby numbers over here. Let's get the beta open as well. Have they added anything to those little goodie bags? There's always a well, I wonder if they're going to add Moxie to them at any point. I've got a character that hasn't already picked them up that we can have a look on. Have you picked up the... I don't know. Don't forget to craft Dragonflight Gathering Vials. They're higher than the Midnight ones, assuming that they haven't changed the back-end numbers. They really? Oh, Christ. There's a lot of bugs. There's a lot of bugs. Like, I mean, we can only hope that they smoothed them all out in the next 48 hours or whatever, but there's a lot of bugs. I think I would go as far as to say there is more bugs going into this expansion, from a profession standpoint at least anyways, than we have seen with any previous past expansion. I mean, even including Dragonflight, which is, you know, Dragonflight was oh, okay, I've already done the intro quest on this dude. Dragonflight, obviously the entire system was brand new. Totally brand new. And even then it felt less buggy. Hope the auction house doesn't shit the bed again. True. Yes. Who's playing Classic at the moment? Who's been playing Anniversary? Because I've noticed people have been sort of saying that the auction house is real laggy on Classic at the moment, which is a weird thing. When's the EU release? Heard somewhere like midnight to 1 a.m. Yeah, for me, I live in Finland, GMT +2. So for me, it goes live at 1 a.m. Technically Friday morning, 1 a.m. Central Europe is probably midnight. UK time is, what, 11 p.m.? Something like that. Notice the renown knowledge point items cost 75 moxie. Give 10 knowledge points, which means the return is only 50 moxie. Oh, here we go. I don't think they refund your moxie, by the way. I don't think they refund moxie. I think the moxie is actually consumed and it's not refunded. I don't think you get the refund on it. 10 a.m. for the Aussies. I mean, that's crazy, right? That means you get up, take a shower, have breakfast, and then just boom, 24 hours, go. Hey, that's Team Australia get blessed with that. That's pretty cool. Not going to get a lot of work done. No, I can imagine. I can imagine. What I should probably do today, I don't really want to get deep in the weeds on doing anything too specific. In fact, should we go test? It's topical, isn't it? Let me go test flipping. Let me go test the abundance thing again today. Let me see if they've made any hot fixes to the abundant event. Because with all of the recent changes, they absolutely better get it flipping working. It's been buggy as all hell, all beta. 5 p.m. release time here. Yeah, it's only EU that gets really screwed by the timings, but for reference, my plan is I am not staying up for the actual launch. It going live at 1 a.m. I know there's the, you know, in theory, getting through the Silver Moon campaign-y bit, and then logging off, go to bed is a possibility, but I genuinely think the better course of action for me is just to completely ignore the 1 a.m. launch. Just go to bed nice and early, and then get up nice and early on the Friday morning. The wife's in the office on Friday, so I do have to do adulting things in the morning, such as, you know, look after all of my animals. But if I get up nice and early on the Friday, get dog walks done, get some food in me, take a shower, maybe start the stream a bit earlier on Friday, and then we just, you know, we just play. We just go. We just go, gadget, go. What's your experience with new expansion launches? I believe goblins have 2 options, do the campaign or gathering. What are your thoughts? This really confuses me to why people think that it's an either or. Like, I will level my druid, who has herbalism and mining, and I will do the campaign on that character. And while I do it, I will pick up everything I see and put it on the auction house. Just do both. Do both. Sure, it might take you an extra couple of hours because you're spending a bit of time here, there, and everywhere distracted by squirrels, but just do both. I don't even like my druid, but I'll level it first just because it's got herbalism and mining. And that will mean that by day 2, you'll have a druid at max level with herbalism and mining and the campaign done, so adventure mode unlocked for all of your other alts. By day 2, you can then do anything you want. If, you know, some 2x4 farm pops off, you'll have a druid, which are like almost, yep, sure, instantly get in the group. You know, boomkins are easily the best farming class early in the expansion. You'll have herbing and mining to do if that pops off. You know, I don't understand why people seem to believe it's this or this. Just do both. Do both, and then you're good. That's my plan, at least, anyway. I do an all-nighter at launch. I kind of like it. If I wasn't a content creator, I probably would. Unfortunately, though, I don't really want to completely break my rhythm and routine on a day-to-day basis just for an expansion launch. I'd rather chill.
Sweet profit together.
I mean, I'm almost tempted to stay up and watch the chaos of the launch. Because you got to remember, the first few hours of it going live, nothing fucking works. It's a lag fiesta. It always is. It's an absolute lag fiesta the first couple of hours anyway. You'll sit in flipping queues to log in. Honestly, the first few hours are cancerous. Sometimes they get it right, but often they don't. So I don't mind just kind of sleeping through that, wake up the next day nice and early, I think. I think that's my plan anyway. Getting the campaign done so you unlock adventure mode is definitely the play. Does this character have any gear? Not really. Do I have any Dun-Dun shards? Well, I got 2 Dun-Dun shards. Should we do a Dun-Dun run? Let's do a Dun-Dun run. See if this works today, shall we? Wait for Darkmoon Fair, get the 10% buff. I don't think goblins need to worry about that. Genuinely, I don't think goblins need to worry about that. Now, of course, if you are... Yep, you can't pick up the abundance again. It's still fooked. It's still busted. Or maybe that... I don't know. Why you wouldn't deliberately break it this late in the beta, would you? But it's definitely broken. Yeah, I don't think waiting for Darkmoon is too much of a requirement for goblins, particularly. You're not going to need that high of a renown to get your... You need renown 5 to be able to start buying the recipes. You need renown 6. Between 6 and 9. It's 9 with the singularity. It's 6 with the others. Holding off doing the campaign will also limit your ability to do lots of other things in the first few days as well. So I'm not really sold on that being a smart move personally. I certainly won't be doing it. Not just for a 10% boost on renown. Renown's not going to matter that much to me personally. I mean, if you're sweaty top end mythic raider, you might have different thoughts, but I've genuinely not looked past renown 9 on most of the tracks anyway, to even know if there's anything I care about. Yo, Kahani, by the way, thank you very much for the sub. I saw it, but I was mid speech. 48 months is actually wild, by the way. Thank you. Do you know if the top hats stay in your bank after the Darkmoon Fair ends? I don't think they do. I think they expire, don't they? Don't they have a 3-day duration on them? I mean, this is an actual done run. Does the normal version of this... Does the non-shard version of this work still, maybe? Maybe we should try that out. They disappear? Okay, nice. I tell you what, not streaming for a couple of weeks really hinders my general overall knowledge of stuff. I learn very quickly just how much you teach me, not the other way around. While I pretend to look the part on YouTube, like I'm a real dum-dum on most stuff in this game. I'm very much in my lane when it comes to certain things I know about. Abundance locked. Right. Okay. Yeah, the system's completely broken. Totally broken. Whoa, what was that? Got a notice on Monday from the power company that they have to do some maintenance work. Guess when? Friday between 8 and 10 a.m. Can't remember when power was last out here. Oh dear. Well, I hope that gets resolved nice and fast then. Aussie realms are always smooth. Welcome in, Boofy, by the way. Yeah, Team Australia gets blessed with the launch time, don't they? For sure. Oh, Puppy Cam. Fuck, I totally forgot Puppy Cam. Hang on, let me point it somewhere where it actually matters. Does its job. There you go. Hang on, I completely missed that. I'll give you a full screen for a minute. Whoa! Don't need any of that. That's too full screen. Put some of that on. Jesus. Yeah, the puppies are chilling now. I was up nice and early again with them. This is clearly the plan. Get up nice and early, wear them out, and so they chill. 3 puppers, yeah. Nipsu, the black one, she's actually 9. Oh, no, she's 8 still. Her 9th birthday is soon. But the other 2 are like 8 months old. They're actual puppies. Does milling provide more yield the more skill you have? No. No, it doesn't, no. Skill only affects milling from the perspective of what quality of pigments that you get. Belly rubs stat. They do. Solo, the one that was upside down, does love his belly rubs. He really does. He loves his belly rubs. Why have I got like negative FPS again? I really do hope I can get some better frame rates by the time it goes live. I guess the same counts for prospecting. I might do a cheeky little test on prospecting again, actually. Yeah, that's one thing I haven't done. This is the one thing that I kind of do think I need to do in the next 24, 48 hours, is have a quick overview of just what the rates of stuff are. Simply because it's probably changed since I last looked at them. As far as prospecting, the yield doesn't make that much difference based on your skill, but there are some nodes that do affect the yield. So it's more of a knowledge point restriction than anything else. Do you think you can catch up with Shards of Dundun if you miss a week of abundance? I doubt. The way that the system looks, I doubt it. I doubt it. When you chat to this fella, it seems pretty strict that you've got a weekly maximum and a total maximum. Well, maybe they could actually implement a catch-up that your total maximum increases by 8 every week. It could add up. It hasn't on the beta, but it is something. That's a good point. It's something that they, yeah, feedback the shit out of that one. Bug report. Not technically a bug report, but the weekly max for dun shards. Dun shards. Dun shards. Team Australia does well, you call the bathroom the dunny, don't you? Dunny shards sounds almost dangerous. The weekly max for dun shards needs to increase by 8 each week as catch up. Many, please. Sounds way too close to Dum Dum. I know it does, yeah. Pasta Lance? What a name. Spaghetti in disguise. You should probably use the proper name so the AI knows what you're talking about. Yeah, I know. You're probably right. That's good. That's good, sensible feedback to put in, though. You're not wrong. Okay, so we can't really test the abundance in any more detail because it don't fucking work. It's a bit of a whoopsie-saurus. I could do with testing. I could test some skinning, actually. You know what's really fun? I don't have a skinning character. I don't have a character that I actually properly plan to do skinning on. Maybe that's what I need to do today. So many options. I apologize. I'm going to be absolutely, completely destroyed by squirrels today. The nothing constructive will get done today. I know. Don't you have like 40 hunters? What? Yeah, I do. I do. There is part of me. There is part of me that is half planning to just give them all skinning. The reality is I haven't really researched or tested skinning much at all. I've like I said, I've very much stayed in my lane. I've stayed in my lane in terms of like crafting. I've not. I mean, I did my initial looks at herbing, mining, and skinning and whatever, but I certainly haven't spent many hours testing it. Skinning alt army seems legit. It's definitely going to be useful. They're definitely going to be useful. I think this change to the profession tools does nerf it a bit though, because you've got to remember where those epic skinning materials were mostly going to be consumed. They were going to be consumed really quickly in the epic profession gear, because all of the epic profession gear was using fins or hides or whatever. Now that the demand for the epic stuff has like been completely nuked to begin with, that will also nuke the heavy demand for these in the first couple of weeks. So I would have said before yesterday that a skinning alt army would have been like proper good value, but doesn't the blue tools use them? Some of them do, but I think that's more of a whoopsie daisy on the balancing of materials than it is like a general rule. Is how I feel. Got to make a multi-craft skinning knife just for those lure procs. A multi-craft skinning knife, yes. Do we need to do the campaign with all our alts to get the profession treasures? No. No. You only ever need to do the campaign once. Once you've done it, it unlocks adventure mode, and then that's war band wide access to all of the zones. I'm going to be doing the skinning if you have to be 90 to be efficient. That alone screens out a lot of people. That's true. That's true. The people who have got 500,000 million level 80s from Remix are probably not going to be that excited about having to level them all up to do skinning. And in the time it would take them to level them up, the opportunity might pass. So, yes. I'm actually in a pretty strong position because I would imagine that you throw down a lure and you can do it in a group, right? So I could have 4 80s. I'm doing brain math here. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. You do 4 80s and 1 90 in a group. My main account can have the 90s. My 4 other accounts where all of my army are can be in a group with the 90. The 90 kills the mob. And then they all skin it, right? Log out, rinse and repeat. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know if that's viable. I don't know. Time investment to do the skinning on so many alts is already a hassle. I mean, alt armies, that is the definition of an alt army, isn't it? They are hassle personified. They are the definition of doing something really annoying on a humongous amount of characters to build a massive advantage. Absolutely worth on 5 accounts. I have considered that. Yo, by the way, throw a link to your YouTube channel in chat, like right now. Your video, your farming videos are top notch, by the way. Because you've actually put time and effort in it. Whereas I haven't, which is why I haven't done videos on this sort of stuff. I don't know if I'll make more, to be honest. Just link the ones you already have, because they're top tier. What's the shiny blue dot on your UI, just to the right of the action bars? Oh, this. It's not a UI element. It's one of the orbs that you fly through that give you Void Light Mile. They spawn in one zone at a time. It's not actually part of the the UI. There we go. Everybody, click on that link and subscribe. Click on that link and subscribe. Man knows his shit when it comes to farming. Do you rate it's worth making gathering tools straight away on your first toon whilst leveling, or just use the war within ones whilst your skill is low anyways? You are absolutely best off grabbing. You're absolutely best off grabbing your gathering tools as soon as you possibly can. As soon as you possibly can. Because even whilst you are leveling, extra, depending on how you build them out, but for reference, your war within ones don't do nothing. They don't do anything. You need the midnight ones for it to gain any real advantage. So yes, TLDR, get your gathering gear as soon as possible. I'll paste it again. Hang on. Team YouTube.
Is that your wallet? Are you just glad to see me?
Sensi, my man, welcome in. Good morning, good morning. Thank you very much for the 27. Don't do this to me. I don't like the attention, but thank you. No, it's fine. It's fine. Good content deserves being rewarded. I've I've spoke with K-Chak a bunch over the development cycle, and we both were in agreement that it was really frustrating seeing just how much dog shit information was being spewed out about professions. And so I'm more than willing to throw people a bone when they're actually producing good quality content. By the way, I saw a tweet about Twitch not caring if you have combined chat anymore. I don't think they really cared anyway. I don't think they really cared. And if creators were clever, they just didn't put icons. They just, you know, because I could have the chat running above here. But I don't really think that they're, you know, I could put the chat here. I could already, you know, I can already do it. If you just don't put the platform icon next to each individual chat, then how they meant to, like, this is my point, right? It was never something that I think they cared about. Are the engineering scrap items that they use in some recipes still grey trash items? Not that I'm no. The piles of scrap for engineering are just vendor items now. They're not soul bound. They're not something you have to farm for, if that's what you're referring to. What are your expectations for housing decor? I'm in two minds about decor for Midnight. Two minds, because on one hand, decor has already proven to be a fantastic success from a goal making perspective. On the other hand, though, Midnight decor is going to feel very different to the past expansion decor. With the past expansion decor, all of the materials that went into crafting the decor were basically free, right? You could kind of just pretend that they were all free. If you take a look at, or even have any of the decor unlocked, you know, for the cost of all of this, the cost was in farming the lumber, right? The materials needed to craft anything pre-midnight, maybe 20% of the overall price of it was correlated to the standard materials. 80% of the price was sort of based upon people farming the lumber and charging for the lumber, right? Midnight's going to feel different, though. It's going to feel different in Midnight for the decor, and it's also going to make the Midnight decor really pricey for a while. Really pricey. The lumber's going to be basically, whatever. It's the cost of all of the other materials that are going to really ramp up the price of Midnight decor, at least short term, at least until the market stabilizes and everything starts getting flooded. But yeah, short term, I think the farming of the lumber is going to actually equate for the least percentage of the overall cost of it. And with everybody being out in the world all the time, people are just going to be whacking trees just casually all the time. I'm going to try and make it a bit of a habit to just, if you see a tree, whack it. Just so then I end up just stacking up the Thalassian lumber in my war bank regardless. Which means if I'm going to do that, lots of others probably will as well. And there's a good chance that there won't be much value in the Thalassian lumber, is my take on it. But it will still be a good market, because decor's proven to be very, very good. But I do think the Midnight decor is going to be real spicy price. Real spicy price. If you think that like the 10 to 20,000 gold that you've been seeing for decor up until this point is a lot, it could be significantly more for the Midnight stuff. There might be an early influx of decor from people leveling their professions, must fill the bar. Yeah, I don't know how many of you have watched my 1 to 100 engineering guide. Engineering, you basically have to level with decor. You've only got 2 ways to level engineering to skill 100. It's by mass producing decor or hoping and praying for work orders on epic profession gear, which as we now know with the fused vitality changes are going to be far less frequent than they could have been. But yeah, season 1 decor prices, season 1 midnight decor prices going to be real spicy. But it's good news for me because I've already been making like millions flipping it. It's been really nice. Mr. Woo, welcome in. Welcome, welcome. Good to see you, my man. I'm gonna punch trees if I'm already on foot and near it anyway. Yeah, exactly. Just whack the tree whenever you see it. Just give it a whack. Isn't there an item to craft spark gear for engineering? There was. It's been deleted from the face of the earth. Yeah, it was called Spark Beginnings. You gained it from recycling, and you had to put points into recycling to unlock it. It was the 30-point node in the recycling tree, but they've just scrubbed it from the game completely. There's no reference to it anywhere anymore. So yeah, there was. Not anymore. I've seen quite a few. I've both seen and heavily analysed a lot of expansion launches now. And this is the one expansion launch where I've seen more so than anything them running. They're clearly running around like headless chickens at Blizzard HQ right now, trying to fix stuff. And there's clearly things that they wanted to do that they were and I genuinely think Moxie on profession tools was the original plan. In fact, I know this so well because it still says it in the tooltips for Moxie. I think that was their first plan. I think their first plan was to let they were going to put Moxie on the profession tools, but for whatever reason, it wasn't able to be done by the launch. And so they've had to go with plan B, which is just crank up the amount of fused vitalities and force people to just farm the abundance event. I mean, you watch, I'll log on tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll log on and they'll have hotfixed it so the rare stuff has Moxie on it. You watch. Right? Never discount anything at the moment, but never discount anything. Ian said in an interview that this was the first expansion where no overtime, taking it easy. Yeah, I saw that interview, and it's made me giggle because it's clearly not true. It's clearly not true. We're almost unanimously seeing more bugs, errors, incomplete things. There's a lot still wrong with a lot of the professions, by the way. A lot still wrong, and we're 48 hours from the launch. And now all that's happening is we're just seeing the band-aid fixes. We're seeing the option B fixes, not the fixes, not the implementation that they would have probably liked to have done, but the thing that they know that they can do quickly in time for launch. Is how I view it anyway. Mr. Elon, where's my Moxie? Yeah, you ain't getting no Moxie here. Welcome in. Basically, you need epic profession gear for everything that relies on more of the secondary stats than skill. Yeah, basically. Yeah. Pretty much. Pretty much. If you're going a work order route, you don't really need the epic. You don't really need the epic profession tools and accessories if you're going a work order based build. Because when you're doing work orders for people, the only stat that really matters is plus skill. Because that's going to allow you to make things at quality 5 guaranteed. That's what you're actually after. Your resourcefulness doesn't matter anywhere near as much. Resourcefulness is then a nice to have stat because more procs, more profit. But it's not the difference between being able to do something and not do something. Having a profession where you're going to do some processing when you're, trying to optimize crafting costs, then you gotta have the epic stuff. And you should prioritize getting it as soon as you can. Fishing hotfix today got me, while I was testing today, changed the rarity of some of the fish round and have boosted catching rates. You see, I would never have even spotted that because I've not even done a fraction of... I've done hardly nothing fishing-wise. I've unfortunately had to rely on the expertise of other people a lot when it comes to the gathering. Fishing stream when? I mean, we can bang out some fishing now. I'm literally just doing Q&A basically with you lot today. I'm getting back into the swing of things. Cool to see so many content creators in one chat. So, hey, it's a nice little community we got going. Nice little community. Fishing seems interesting because of skinning. Yeah, then making the lures will bring some value to it, for sure. Fishing 4th pillar. Oh, God. Stop it. Do we have the plus skill optional reagents? We do, yeah. They're only... they're predominantly sourced... You can't craft any finishing reagents anymore. Your patron orders, though, can dish them out still. That's unchanged. Apprentice scribbles. Artisan ledger. Apprentice scribbles again. Yeah. They can also pop out of the goodie bags you do as well. Out of the goodie bags, there's resourcefulness, multi-craft, and ingenuity variations as well. Oh, I can't easily show you on these characters because I haven't got anything unlocked. Are you flipping after? Oh, there we go. So yeah, you got your plus skill ones. +5, +10, +20, and +50. These are the ones we're kind of used to. The new ones are these multi-craft boosting ones, resourcefulness boosting, and ingenuity boosting ones. But these are all bind on pickup. So you're not going to be able to mass purchase these for any sort of like mass crafting. You'll have, a handful of them that you've gained via your own patron orders. That's it. You gotta love the entire rework to the cooking reagent amount across all recipes. Cooking's still 1 to 100 just with vendor mats though, right? They did this in the War Within. This isn't the reason I didn't look at cooking. I didn't particularly look at cooking because I hate the profession. But the reason I didn't particularly look at cooking is because in the War Within they did exactly the same thing. We had cooking being pretty much the same throughout most of beta for the War Within. And then 2 days before the expansion launch, they completely changed it all. Literally changed the whole lot. So I was like, oh, sure. Rug pull. Love that. Can you explain the knowledge tracker, what the various numbers mean? Yes. This is Moo's Knowledge Point Week, or I did a video on this last night. Fun fact, that video wasn't meant to come out last night. I accidentally forgot to click unlisted when I uploaded the video, so it instantly published. That wasn't the plan. But anyway, it's out there now. But yes, the reason it wasn't meant to go live straight away is because Moo, the add-on author, hasn't actually finished the midnight build for it yet. And I was going to hold back the video a little bit until they had finished it. But it should still be ready and available for the early access launch tomorrow. But the numbers on the side here are the plus skill that's obtainable. The blue numbers are how many knowledge is obtainable from weekly sources, I think. The plus 300 number here is what your catch-up is. Now, of course, on the beta's been cooking for months now, so you've got huge amounts of catch-up potential on the beta. The purple stuff is unique stuff. How many unique things are outstanding? So I've got a knowledge point book, for example, which is where that 10 comes from. 771 is how many. That's how many knowledge points I have missing still in the profession. But yeah. Getting ready to do some yield tests if they ever stop changing stuff. Yeah, this is why I don't do any yield tests until the last week before the expansion, because before it, it's mostly pointless. How soon do you think the low amount of items needed in crafts will drive the price to 0-ish due to oversupply? Oh, that's a deep question. That's a deep question. Sooner than we would probably like is the answer. The fact that most professions use only a fraction of the materials this time round will definitely have an effect. Will definitely have quite a big effect. For example, if you take a look at just how many materials are needed in, say, crafting a gem, we're going from, or I should say, we're going from needing, let's have a look, what's it, like a quick emerald? We're going from needing 30 crushed gemstones and 6 rare gems to make one single gem. We're going from this, so just for simple maths, remember 36 basic materials. 36 basic materials making a single gem. We're going to a world where the equivalent gem takes 6 basic materials. Plus a root, plus moats. But in terms of actual dual crafted materials, it's like humongously slashed. The amount of materials needed to make finished products is a fraction of what they were. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean the price will get much, much lower, because the price will still be padded by the value of the petrified roots and the motes of primal energy. So the price of the finished thing, at least short term, will still stay quite buoyant, because these materials will become the bottleneck of crafting. I've been saying this literally since day one of the alpha, that moats will be the bottleneck and the thing that you have to focus on getting at the right price. Very much like the landscape we played with in Dragonflight. If you didn't play Dragonflight, the rousing and the awakened elemental materials were the thing that you had to focus on getting at the cheapest price. The flipping basic herbs, the basic ore, didn't matter. Right, the value difference in them, whether you paid 4 gold or 5 gold for them, didn't matter. What mattered in Dragonflight What mattered back in Dragonflight when you were crafting things was how much you were getting your elemental materials for. You know, back here where you had one jewel crafting material and then you had 4 awakened, the lion's share of the materials and the lion's share of the cost was in these all the time. You cared about getting your awakened order cheap and you cared about getting your awakened air cheap. You didn't give a damn about the basic gems or anything that went into them. This is exactly the same setup that we're seeing replicated in Midnight. That you basically are going to really focus on getting your moats and in turn your petrified roots at the best price, and the rest of it don't matter. What this means is that between seasons, there's way more chance for the price of everything to just plummet really quickly. Really quickly. And it will also mean that from the end of Season 1, when everything gets cheap, I'm telling you now, buy up your moats at the end of Season 1. We're talking like 3 months down the road here. But it will be your roots and your moats that will be the things to keep your eyes on towards the end of the season, because then when Season 2 kicks off, these will be the things that will see the greatest increase in price again. But yeah, I do think, to come back to the original question, I do think the fact that there's far less materials being consumed on crafting things this time will pull the price. For one, it will pull the price of things down much lower than what we saw in The War Within. And it's another kick in the nuts to concentration. Because concentration can't come along and really add any value. When your normal and high quality gems and your normal and high quality gem dust are crushed in price because they're basically the byproduct, they're not the main component of crafting anyway. The difference between these at normal and high quality, concentration doesn't have any work to do when these, you know, play such a small part in the crafting cost anyway. The focus is going to be in the roots and it's going to be in the moats, which don't have quality, so concentration can't do shit. There's lots of information about concentration, alts and builds and stuff floating around the internet right now, myself included. But content creators, myself, K-Chak, other people have made this content because it's what people are asking for. Not necessarily because we all believe that it's going to be, you know, the big thing. I'm strongly of the opinion that using concentration as a way to print money via consumables is done. Game over. It will last a couple of weeks whilst everything's crazy at the beginning, but soon as things start to normalize and balance out, it's done. It's actually done. Concentration is only really going to be useful or if you're like crafting endgame gear and you can guarantee it at quality 4 and you want to use cheaper mats to guarantee it at quality 5, then you'll use your concentration. It's, you know, its intended purpose, I think, is a bit of a get out of jail free card when you're crafting endgame gear, not to print money off consumables. If you had to make 100 mil as fast as possible, how would you do it? Flip decor on all 80 realms in your region. It's exactly what I am doing. Swipe, yeah. Swipe is probably the play. I hope my 400 characters pay for themselves in weeks 1 to 4. It's gonna be, you know, you're gonna just have to blast it, right? You're gonna have to blast it. Concentration will still have its value whilst everybody is getting stuff set up. This is the thing, right? There will be a period of time where people can't mass produce things at top quality. It's not possible yet. People won't have the skill, they won't have the knowledge points, they won't have the profession tools. You know, there'll be a period of time where it won't be possible to mass produce top quality stuff. And so for as long as that scenario lasts, concentration has some value still. But I'm very much of the opinion that soon as people can start mass crafting stuff, we will see a pretty dramatic shift in the price of everything, and it will basically squeeze out any value at all from using concentration for like commodity items, I think. Bought 1,000 bolts to pilfer, but the pilfer all button is bugged out, so I've had to do all 200 manually. Check that you don't have some bolts in your warbank that are causing the stack size to be weird. I'm halfway there. You are. You have more liquid gold than I do right now. You got more liquid gold than I do right now. I think I'm at about 42 mil. Crafting orders it is for concentration. Yeah, I think for some of my professions like leatherworking, professions like blacksmithing, professions that are very, very, very focused towards doing work orders, my plan will probably be to spread wide, I think. Wide is probably the play I will go. I will probably focus on just trying to unlock as many of the different slots as possible, and then use my knowledge points to push all of the skill up to like quality 4 guaranteed. If I can get to quality 4 guaranteed with high quality materials, it will then leave me the ability to use concentration to get it to quality 5 as and when an order comes in. Now, I might not be able to fill many orders that way, but I don't really plan on filling many orders anyway. And unlocking more stuff will at least give me a way to get a couple of orders pretty quickly. And unlock a lot of patterns quickly, that's kind of the point. Matthias is poor. I know, I definitely wouldn't say poor. I just do not have anywhere near as much gold as A, people expect me to have, or B, that I have had in the past. Darkmoon cards still dropping from mobs? They do, yes. You don't technically need to be a scribe for them to drop, but it does still seem to benefit being a scribe when it comes to card drops. So it leads me to a good point, actually. The tailoring inscription wombo combo does still seem to be a bit of a thing. Assuming cards don't crush to like 50 gold a piece again within a day, like they did in the War Within. If that's the case, it doesn't matter. Like, who cares? You're not going to have a profession just to like get 50 gold here, there, and then you'd be better off pairing, I don't know, something like enchanting or whatever. But it does appear that scribes do still get more drops, even though there isn't really anything in the spec trees that says that's the case. Is transcribing still bugged? I've not tried it in the last few days, but I would guess so. No, knowing Blizzard, I would guess so. I would guess it is. Do we have any reliable cloth farms found yet that are group friendly? It's been some pretty solid solo ones. I shouted him out earlier. As he did I shouted him out earlier and he got all shy about it, but I'll do it again because he's got a really good solo cloth farming video. Let's look at Inscription real quick. Still got 2 days. Don't stress about it. Yep. And yeah, that realm. I am on the right realm. Leatherworking George. Scribbly. Scribbly. With the loot bug, you'd only be able to farm only 2 minutes solo before it stops dropping loot. The loot quote-unquote bug is only outer world stuff. It doesn't apply in instances. It's why Darkmoon, what was it, Dark Flame Cleft, for example, was the go-to cloth farm. It's only the open, that mechanic only affects the open world stuff. I need some of these essency things. I need to go back to cheat vendors. Are the Abundance event 10 knowledge point books hard to get? Oh, no, not at all. An absolute drop in the ocean compared to what you'll need to do if you want your epic tools. No, your knowledge point books are dead straightforward to get.
Is that your wallet? Or are you just glad to see me? Both, I hope.
Hang on, I think having my other client open in the background is causing my game to lag the fuck out real bad. Close that for a minute. Yo, Mr. Dipper, how we doing? Welcome in, my man. Thank you very much for the 35. Appreciate that. My man. Felt like you were gone for 35 months. I'm not gonna lie. My 3-day hiatus from streaming turned into nearly 3 weeks. That was a bit of a whoopsie. Where do I find this? I don't understand why I don't have any in my bags, but... Where has he gone? No, not on you.
Looking for something special?
Peace, friend.
Where the Christ is that then?
Shall meet again.
How may I aid you?
Yo, Skinners, by the way.
Be careful.
Skinners. Have we found these yet? Do these exist yet? Because if these still don't flip and exist, if these aren't still dropping from stuff, we're right up shit creek, because there's huge amounts of crafts that use these things. Patron orders only.
Greetings.
I can't find it. I can't find it. Who's stolen my... There they are. There they are. That's what I was looking for. Oh, God. Still broken. Still broken. So yeah, that basically makes the entire transcribing. I'm going to be honest with you. From everything I've seen so far, plus knowing the fact that scribes do get an increased amount of cards dropping, you ain't never going to be crafting Darkmoon cards. You are never going anywhere near this tree. ignore it, avoid it, lock it up, contain it away somewhere. You ain't going anywhere near this tree. Complete waste of time. Complete waste of knowledge points. You ain't going nowhere near this. Forget about Darkmoon cards with Inscription. With the cards dropping in the wild, you don't care about this. Now, fun fact though, if the drop rate on cards is anything like what was leaked when they accidentally allowed cards to drop on Team NA during the pre-patch event when they launched it, all cards do not drop equally in the wild, which could cause the Darkmoon card market to be a bit wacky. I don't have the screenshot to hand, but when they accidentally had Darkmoon cards on the loot table of the pre-patch event, Team NA very quickly saw huge amounts of them hit their auction house. And some of the screenshots showed that there were some cards that you get like 10 times more than other cards. So the drop rate on each of the cards doesn't seem to be the same. So there is still maybe sort of some possible crafting of, you know, if they make the ace, for example, like stupidly difficult to find out in the wild, there is maybe still some logic for crafting Darkmoon cards, like fishing for aces, basically, but it's, I still think you should probably ignore it. Avoid it like the plague. Warband Nexus. It's alcoholic, but lightweight. Doesn't have 50 different plugins. Tracks professions, consecration. You can make plans to get stuff. What's this? What's this? Okay. Character items, storage, PvE, reps, currencies, plans, statistics. Here's the items that they have. Plan. My plan, achievements, daily tasks, illusions, mounts, pets, titles, toy box, transmog. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, it looks kind of quite interesting. Those images are still old. I don't think it's something that I'm going to use much. Though, what's this bit? The profession side, maybe, possibly. I actually use a website for this. I use a website called Wow Thing that does fundamentally exactly this and is web-based. This in essence does basically the same, or it can be set up to do basically the same. I can see use for it, but I don't personally have much use for it, I don't think. But I can see the appeal of it for sure. If we get, you know, if you're doing concentration alts on a serious level, for example, in the first couple of weeks, it could be useful. Soon, gold deposits and withdrawal will be added as well. Yeah, I use Warband Miser for that. That's very useful. I made an add-on where you just select the craft you want that character to concentrate on, and it makes macros for you to click 1 through 6 and be done. People used crafting macros in the War Within a lot. Like I said, I never got that deep into concentration alt stuff because it bored me to death, but there's good use for that sort of stuff. Does it automatically calculate concentration, or does it just update on relog? Less useful if it's the latter. That's a good point. That's a good point. Does it actually track the fact that you get 1 concentration every 6 minutes? Yes, Moo's knowledge point tracker is on CurseForge, yes. The most recent CurseForge update of it may or may not be the midnight update, but I've spoken to them and they say they're going to have the midnight update published by the time early access starts. So we're all good. We're all good. What I actually want is I want something like Warband Miser, but for the guild bank. Because believe it or not, because I do most of my reposting and shuffling about on 4 accounts simultaneously, I've slowly transitioned into actually using a guild bank more than I use the war bank. The war bank is, yes, faster, but when I'm doing it on 4 accounts simultaneously, the speed isn't actually much of an issue, but having access on all 4 accounts at the same time is significant of an advantage that I'm willing for it to be a little bit slower. Guild Bank better than War Bank. For a single account, War Bank is top tier for a single account. But soon as you have more than 1 account open at a time, it's just an utter frustration having to shuffle around who has access and who doesn't. Somebody was asking about milling earlier. I can't remember what the question was. Doesn't look like they've made any changes to Inscription to adjust the recipe difficulties for things like milling.
Are you just glad to see me?
Drestia with a 40 months. Good morning, good morning. Welcome in. And Bakoto, good morning. Until it eats all your items, though. Well, yes. Yes. But, I mean, the War Bank hasn't actually been particularly reliable recently either. So it's kind of like, you know, it's cursed either way, in my opinion. The delay's annoying, but my biggest gripe with the Guild Bank is that you can't stack crafts or mats or alts on different realms easily. Oh, yeah, true. Yeah. I mean, like I said, there's pros and cons. My opinion is there's pros and cons to both.
Let's make sweet profit together.
But for my decor flipping operation, I've slowly transitioned to mostly using a guild bank rather than the war bank. Cheerful! My God, you're all coming out the woodwork today. I appreciate it, boys and girls. Thank you, thank you. The milling still has far less of a requirement for you to actually put all of your points into milling, as weird as that sounds. you can technically get away with... You don't need 90 points in here to be really good at milling. And in fact, 90 points is actually overkill. There's a bit of a decision to be made when setting up a milling character, because you kind of want 30 points in perfect milling because it gives you the crafting speed increase.
Are you just glad to see me? Both, I hope.
But at the same time, you can completely get away with also putting 0 points in this and just putting points in the first two. So if you're going to transition into both milling and then maybe crafting inks, and then maybe doing ciphers, for example, and if you can get your crafting speed buff from somewhere else, namely Weaver's buff. Has anybody tested Weaver's buff in the last few days? See if that still works. Weaver's buff might still do its thing. If the Weaver's buff still works, you can chill out in Dornagal to do your crafting. The Quick Hands potion, I believe, also still works. So you might be able to get your crafting speed from somewhere else, meaning you don't really need to put your points in milling. You can spend these 30 points elsewhere. Molten Death with the 3 months. Thank you very much. Thank you. Welcome in. The internal bag error fix basically makes it slow as a guild bank. Ah, Bakoto, you talking about... Yeah, you can, like, I've actually, for reference, right, I've spoke to Sapio over at TSM, and I gave him the lowdown on that little cheeky fix to get rid of that. And, I don't know if he plans to do something similar, you know, baseline with TSM to slow down the warbank so you don't get the errors. But he was quite intrigued to see what the solution was. Do Dragonflight vials still work? Yeah, they do. They do seem to, or at least they have done through the beta for the most part. So your Quick Hands vials for the speed increase and the Weaver buff have both worked. Meaning that you can probably get your crafting speed, you know, zoomed up without needing to chase, you know, a buff from the Spectres, which is, you know, a bit odd, but it is what it is. Being a Blood Elf gives 5 skill. Does that mean it's 5% better than a non-Blood Elf when disenchanting? Probably not. Probably not. Because one skill probably doesn't... The problem we have, right, is we don't know what the baseline value is. I've put this feedback into Blizzard a couple of times already, and it's fallen on deaf ears. But they don't show you what your disenchanting skill number is in the game anywhere. So we don't know what the baseline is. Now, if it's just the bar at 100 plus your profession tools being 40, technically a Blood Elf would have a maximum of 145. So, I mean, that, you know, if we are going to equate that to a simple percentage, it's more like a 2%, 3% advantage. Which is an improvement. It is an improvement, but if that, should we say 3% advantage when disenchanting, is the difference between disenchanting being profitable to do and not being profitable to do, my argument is still exactly the same, that you shouldn't be wasting your time doing it at that point anyway. This is where my philosophy on the racials is that they are nice to have, And yes, mathematically, they do provide a bonus, but that bonus is just that. It's a bonus. Like, none of them are mandatory. None of them are like significantly game-breaking advantages. What we don't ever want to see is something where if you don't have the racial, you can't do it. But if you have the racial, you can do it. We kind of saw this with the goblin racial with thaumaturgy at the beginning of the War Within, where goblins were able to convert quality 1 materials into quality 2 mats. And if you weren't a goblin, you just physically couldn't do that. You could only turn quality 1 mats into other quality 1 mats. But they hotfixed that because they realized that that was broken. But there is nothing that I've seen so far that gives any sizable advantage that's worth chasing. Racials are nice to have, but if you don't have them, don't worry. You'll be fine. To put it into perspective, you'll do better than what a racial will offer you just simply by focusing on buying your materials like 5% cheaper. Right? If you just put that little bit of extra effort in to get your materials a little bit cheaper, that will be significantly more of a value to you than a racial ever will. So it's that kind, you know, it's a perspective thing. It's a perspective. Yes, mathematically, on paper, racials do provide an advantage, but you have to consider, well, how much of an advantage? And in the grand scheme of things, it's a, you know, it's a fart in a hurricane. It's literally nothing. All I heard was I lose gold. Not losing gold, no. Off topic, but satisfactory 1.2. Getting a new mode. Oh, I don't even want to know. I genuinely don't even want to know. We're in hardcore World of Warcraft mode for the next few months. I don't even want to know. I'll look at other games when WoW hype dies down. Would it be better to go for max rank first? Or get max stats for inks and missives? There's a strong argument for both. Because inks and missives are one of those products that's going to be in demand instantly. This is why week 1 inscription is kind of quite powerful. And if we were to do a tier list, it would probably be right at the top for like week 1. Because the second the game goes live, people are going to want contracts. People are going to be buying the profession tool missives. And both of those things, people would probably prefer to have them at high quality. And of course, both of those things will then in turn require high quality materials to create. So there's a strong argument for both. You're probably not going to have enough knowledge points in week 1 though to do both. So to be cautious, you should always go with reducing your crafting cost first. Cost before skill, basically 99% of the time, is the better option. So if you are going for like inks, for example, you are much better off making sure that you put your points into like calm hands first, right? You're going to want your points in calm hands. You're going to want your points over on dexterous diligence for the multi-craft, because this is flipping bonkers crazy powerful. And you're also going to want your points in resourcefulness, because those resourcefulness procs are going to happen frequently when you're producing hundreds of the damn things. You're going to want this 50 points pretty quickly. And then as far as inks is concerned, if you want to get really good at ink crafting, you need... No, that's the wrong tree. Inks requires somewhere in the range of 50 to 60 points out of these 90 to be able to make them at quality 2. Yeah, that's about 110 points. You can't have both in week 1. You're probably not going to be able to get both in week 1. Like I said, do you try and capitalize on the fact that people will want quality 2 inks almost instantly? Pushing to be able to mass produce them at quality 2 in week 1 is probably possible. But then week 2, you're going to be in a sticky situation that your market will die because people will undercut you on price. Quality 2 inks week 1 is not needed, in my opinion. Oh, they definitely are. They definitely are. Think about profession stat missives. Think about profession stat missives. If people want their tools at high quality, they need a high quality missive. Because if you use a normal quality missive, you're not going to have the skill to guarantee, and it requires your crafter to start using concentration and all of this. It gets real messy real quick. You're going to want high quality profession stat missives when creating your tools. You got to think of it from the perspective, if you're like really sweaty and really focusing on your crafting professions in the week 1, you're not cutting any corners. You're not taking shortcuts. Like you are paying a premium to get the best of the best, because you understand that you do it now and you do it before everybody else, and that's how you win. So you are like these, to produce these at high quality, you know, you're going to need high quality inks. The supply via concentration is going to be not enough to meet the demand.
Both, I hope.
So you know, scribes out there that are going to craft these, and they need to craft them at high quality because that's where the demand will be, will need high quality inks to be able to do that. So that same scribe won't also be able to produce the inks themselves, so they'll need the expertise of another scribe producing the inks to do that. That scribe will need the expertise of a miller, a separate milling character. This is why Inscription's quite fun week 1, because the demand kicks in instantly. This concept is not the same for other professions, though, because their demand kicks in much later. Jewel crafting, nobody cares about gems for ages. Enchanting, nobody cares about enchants for ages. But Inscription's quite interesting because people start caring about the high quality stuff, like, straight away. Straight away. Oh, Kelvin with the sub. Thank you very much. Thank you. I've just spotted that one. If I miss the subs, by the way, it's not because I'm being rude. It's because I purely am out of practice paying attention to my dashboard. Thank you. Yes, obviously, conch missives are a thing, potentially. But the likelihood of there being enough inscription conch builds set up fast enough to provide the demand for the high quality missives is questionable. You got to remember, anything that you're thinking about of doing in week 1, you have to be prepared for the fact that the just other crafters aren't ready to do that yet. It takes a bit of time for people to do stuff. You've also got the contracts, for example. Now, I know as crafters... Where's the contracts gone? As crafters, we're not really too fussed about this sort of side of stuff because we don't need particularly... Where are the contracts gone? We don't particularly need to be hardcore harvesting reputation. But there'll be people out there that want to get their reps maxed before the season starts. Because that's the time to do it. Once the season starts, they don't want to be fucking about doing world quests and shit. No, they want to be slaying bosses, killing dragons. So there'll be a demand for high quality contracts almost instantly as well. Because while it might only be the difference of 5 reputation, people love a good min-max. The min-max is you slap on a high quality contract and then you go do all your world quests every day. These are going to be, you know, high quality contracts will be in demand day one. Why would anybody want missives if they don't have sparks? No, the profession missives, not the combat missives. Combat missives, you're absolutely spot on. Nobody wants these until... nobody wants the combat missives straight away, but we're talking about the profession missives. These are going to be big business day one. Every single crafter out there. You think how many herbalists and miners are going to be running around? Where is it? Where is it? Thalassian Missive of Finesse. Print money on these. If you can spin up an operation to produce these at high quality, print money. All those herbalists, all those miners, getting their profession gear in order. Getting their rare profession gear, basically day one. They'll all be buying one of these. Until they add 300 Moxie on blue tools. They add 300 Moxie on blue tools, people will be getting 300 Moxie double time. I've done some napkin maths. And I think for a lot of the professions, even if they put 300 Moxie on the blue tools, you could still have 3 week 1. I think on a lot of professions, there's about... there's about 600 Moxie that you can obtain. I wouldn't say comfortably, but you can get 600 Moxie in week 1. Now, if they were to put Moxie on the profession tools, you would also assume that they would put 300 Moxie in that little free goodie bag again. So that basically people would be able to get one of their bits of gear, quote unquote, for free. You would have to play the game to get the other 2. But we're 48 hours from, and I don't think that's happening. Really not. I really don't. I mean, I'm past coping that they'll put Moxie on profession tools at this point. I heard there's no world quests in early access. Can't confirm. Nobody knows. See, all these rumors about what is and what isn't is nothing but that. It's just rumors because nobody knows because Blizzard hasn't said. The only thing we can do is go based upon what they did for early access last time, which was that they didn't allow us to do any of the like weekly content until the full game release. And it basically makes the first week 10 days or 11 days long. You have the early access period, and then you have the first actual full launch week, and that's all considered 1 week. But the weekly stuff doesn't open up and become available until the main launch. There's not like a reset on launch day, for example. Would you prefer Moxie on tools and why? Oh, I'd definitely prefer Moxie on tools. 100%. I'd take Moxie on tools over this Fused Vitality every day of the week. Simply because it allows you to run both your professions simultaneously. The big problem, I put it in today's YouTube video if you haven't seen it. The big problem with them using this Fused Vitality system as the way to gatekeep the top end stuff is that the currency is generic to a character. It's not linked to the profession, which means your very, very strongly incentivized to funnel all of your fused vitality into one profession to optimize it first, and then into the other profession. I think the phrase I used in my video was, it's like choosing your favorite child. That's what you're going to basically have to do with your professions, or spin them up in a way so that one doesn't really need the epic tools, and you can give the epic tools to the profession that does need them. Yeah, I would very, very happily see them put Moxie on these instead. Patron orders is one thing that I don't know if we will actually get in early access. I don't remember us having access to patron orders in early access of The War Within, but it was a bit of a blur. How about dollars per hour instead of gold per hour? I mean, if you're engaging in RMT, then you probably do. I'm sure some of the big boosting teams are thinking of it in dollars per hour. I would imagine. 10 hours of sleep yesterday. I'll do the same today until early access. You're just like hyper stacking up on bonus energy. Clever. Clever. They made Moxie profession specific, and then they made Fused Vitality cross profession. Yeah, like I said, this feels like a real band-aid solution to a problem that they didn't have time to fix. It was a couple of weeks ago we looked at this, and I was like, one of these is far too low. Clearly somebody at Blizzard was listening, so feel free to blame me for this change, but I suspected they were going to up the quantity of fused vitality we needed per tool anyway. I just did not expect them to like multiply it by 40 times, which was you know, that's outside the range of like a bit of a buff or a nerf or whatever you describe it as. That's like completely changing the game. A 40 times increase in the cost is kind of wild. 2 days before. 3 days before the expansion goes live. Right, boys and girls, I got to take a quick bathroom break, stretch my legs for 2 minutes. Yeah, entertain yourselves for a couple. I'll be back in 2. Holy balls, there's like 200 plus of you here. What are you all doing? Back in a minute. The ROI of taking a bath is through the roof. Ah, you're making me jealous now. I don't own a bath. I genuinely don't own a bath. Team Finland doesn't do baths. Really annoying. We have sauna and we have shower. Team Finland doesn't understand baths. It seems such a ridiculous thing, but it's one of the major things I miss from living in the UK. Considering the time gating, won't it make performance in the abundance minigame like really important? It will make it important, yes. I mean, the stat, looking at the stat difference, right? If you take Gilded Alchemist Mixing Rod, quality 5, 152 of a stat, compared to the rare equivalent, which is 110. So it's what, 42 additional stats. It's a, you know, that's as much as like 5% multicraft, for example, which, yeah, makes a difference. Yeah. It does make, it will make a difference having the epics over the blues. It definitely will. Finnish houses from the 50s, 60s have well, true, yeah. Before shower technology became what it is, yeah. Yeah, it's kind of crazy to think back to, like, to the 50s. People didn't even have hot running water. Never mind, you know, showers. Which thaumaturgy item gives Duskweave cloth? Wait, what? What's thaumaturgy? I can't get the quest for the Voidstorm on the beta. I've done all the campaign up to it. Any idea why it's missing? I've heard lots and lots and lots and lots of reports that the campaign is bugged on the beta. I did the campaign unlocked adventure mode like years ago, so I've not been able to encounter the same issues that others have had. Yeah, the honest answer is I don't know. How long is it going to take you to get 2 epic profession equipment? A while. A while. With the current rates, you could be looking at like 1 to 2 weeks. 1 to 2 weeks, even if you're reasonably good at the abundance minigame. It could take you 1 to 2 weeks to get a single piece of epic gear. So if you need 6 pieces of epic gear, it's going to take quite a while. Are all flasks under 1 knowledge point set? Or does it make sense for multiple flask crafters? No, flasks are just 1 tree. Flasks are literally 1 tree. 90 points quick is my guesstimation to do flasks. Flasks are much easier this time. You have I've just realised I need to be shameless promoing the absolute Christ out of things at the moment. Where's not that one. Right, there we go. Everybody, if you haven't already, not the OnlyFans. Shit, does that command still work? Oh my god, apparently it does. Technically, it's a lie now. Manthe owns both the long boys. Yes, shameless promo. I'm a shameless promo. Jump in the Discord if you're in any doubt about what any of the Spectres look like, what builds you should use, or anything like that. My free little... If you've watched a YouTube video of mine, I've been shilling it for flipping ages, but there's some Discord mini guides on all of the professions, which I greatly suggest you all dive in and have a look through. Alchemy one, for example, my actual default, my example build is the Flask Connoisseur. So if you want to know how to do flasks properly, there's an example build of flasks in the Discord, in the Alchemy mini guide. I've only put an example build, one example build for each of the professions, just simply because they take a while to figure out. But they're yeah, you absolutely should have a read through these if you haven't already. So come join the Discord if you're not in there. If you're a veteran of Discord, by the way, if you're a veteran of the Discord, you'll you might not for some reason see these channels, and it's because they're new. You need to go into the Browse Channels tab, and you can scroll down to the free mini guides and info and make sure that you're like following the category. Then it'll show up on your list. It's just one of the annoying quirks of Discord, unfortunately. But yeah, you should definitely have a read through these if you haven't already. You got the old longboy yesterday? How much did you have to pay? Did you snag it at 5 mil? Quite a few people I've heard have been able to get it for like 5 mil these days because it's not getting max capped anymore. I had to pay 10 mil for mine just because I wanted to guarantee it, but we got it all the same. Also promote 24/7 channel. People still don't realise is not live. You're right, a few people don't notice that it's not live, but they figure it out quick enough. Needs a 24 in the logo. I have been reconsidering changing the logo to something slightly different from the traditional M that we have up in the corner. But I'm not sure a brand change right now is the right time to do it. So happy I'll buy the new Epic gear in 2026. Yeah, it might be. To highlight for those watching on stream, the flask route, it's just the left-hand side of the flask tree. The right-hand side is for the vials. The left-hand side is for the flasks. And your bottom two nodes here, this is an ingenuity node and this is a multicraft node, so you can basically ignore this one. Sack this one off. Nobody cares about ingenuity. 20 points in here, 30 points in here, 30 points in here. Gives you all the skill you need for your flasks. But of course, you know, skill is only half of the equation. You're also going to want points in alchemical mastery. And you want to go, which one is the flask route? The recycle here, look. 20 points here, 30 points here. So it's 50 points in alchemical mastery tree. And 30, 60, 70, 80 points in the flask tree. So what's that? 120, what's that? 130 points to be tippity top at flasks. You're not going to get 130 points week one, but also nobody wants top tier flasks week one. So you've got you know, alchemy is one of those ones you can take your time with it. There's no rush. Nobody cares about flasks until the raid launches, so you've got a couple of weeks to get prepared. I think it's funny when I see people asking questions in the 24/7 stream. Yeah, I'm personally at the point where I'm not going to try and do anything. If people don't realise it's, you know, a VOD and I'm not live, then they figure it out quick enough. You know, I'm not putting fucking great big huge banners across the whole screen. You know, I'm just not going to bother. I mean, knowledge points week 1. Alchemy is actually less than some of the other professions because there's just not that many things to craft with alchemy. You're not going to have many first-time craft bonuses with alchemy because the list of recipes is like tiddly. So you've got probably somewhere in the range of about 65 points maybe. Maybe you can push 70 points in alchemy if you're really trying. But that's going to be quite RNG based upon your success rate with patron orders, really, more than anything else. Because you're quite quickly going to find that whichever direction you spec into, you can absolutely guarantee all the patron orders will be of the spec you haven't chosen. Because, you know, RNGesus hates you. But I can't foresee you getting many more than 70 points week 1 with alchemy. And from that point on, you're looking at about 20 points a week, roughly, give or take. So, yeah, it'll take you a few weeks to get your flask build fully up and running. But of course, the raid doesn't come out for a few weeks, and so you've got time to chip away at it. As long as you're staying relatively optimal whilst you do it. This is why with basically any commodity build where you eventually want to be able to mass produce something, don't worry about getting the skill first. Don't worry yourself too much about pushing. Don't worry too much about pushing to be able to guarantee high quality. Focus on your crafting cost. Because if you focus on your crafting cost from the start, at least while you are setting it up, you can still be crafting and selling normal quality flasks. Now, the demand isn't going to be huge for them, but at least you can craft them and at least you can sell them, and you should, in theory, be quite competitive on price. If you're focusing on your crafting cost first. As long as you know that you can get the job done by the time it's important, go crafting cost first and skill second, I think. Raids are spread, so I don't see insane flask sales when the first raid opens. I mean, there will be. There will be. Season 1, the second the season opens, like, it's just chaos. It's a region-wide market, and it's potions and flasks. It's going to be bonkers. In the War Within, for example, I was one of the first people in the EU to have guaranteed quality 3 flasks available. And it was ridiculous. Like, genuinely ridiculous. The only thing that prevented people buying quality 3 flasks was that they were about 8 times the price of a quality 2 flask. They were so expensive, so ridiculously expensive because of how expensive quality 3 materials were, that it actually put people off buying the high quality ones a lot. Just purely because people would look, what, 500 gold for a quality 2 flask or 3,000 gold for a quality 3 flask? You know, some people will argue on the internet that only high quality, but when it came to them actually spending their own gold, you bet your ass people were buying quality 2 flasks because the price difference was so ridiculous. But we won't see that this time with high quality. It won't be so much more expensive because the flasks, if you look at them, what have we got here? Like we mentioned earlier with what was it? We were looking at jewel crafting, weren't we? The quantity of herbs that go into a flask is relatively modest. 8 sanguithorn, 6 mana lily. Your lotus, believe it or not, is not going to be that expensive. It'll be the moats again, I think. But the difference between normal and high quality flasks, even once people can guarantee them, is not going to be humongous, I don't think. Will the minigame be significantly easier at max level? Does it make sense to level your main crafting alts? Oh, you mean the abundance thing? It's impossible to know. Impossible to know because the abundance minigame doesn't work. We're 48 hours from early access and the abundance minigame doesn't work. Like most things, I would suspect that a very, very well-geared level 80 character will just absolutely rip through everything because of how scaling works. And I think by the time you ding level 90, you'll be absolutely weak sauce and you'll have to re-gear up until you start actually hitting hard again. So there's probably 3 scenarios. Your crafters might want to stay low level if they're geared. If they're already geared in, as level 80s. If they're basically 80 twinks, you want to keep them as 80 twinks because then you'll just rip through the abundance minigame and probably do quite well. The worst scenario will probably be a fresh level 90 with no gear. Because you just hit like a wet fish. Now, a level 90, if you play it and you gear it, will probably then be similar in ability to a twinked out level 80. But, so yeah, there isn't really one straight answer for that. Do the dogs have fresh toys to chew on for the weekend? Well, I'm hoping for most of the weekend, Mrs. Manthius will be watching the dogs, so I don't have to. Friday though, for launch day, Mrs. Manthius is she's out the house. She's in the office. So we'll have furry friends to deal with on Friday, but hopefully for the rest of early access I'll be able to just focus on the stream. Not twinked out, but let's say pre-patch gear. Nah. Pre-patch gear is what, 120? You get 120 gear from world quests in Midnight. If you're like 150, 160, then you're absolutely balling, you're fine. But if you're running around in pre-patch gear, that's not really twinked out, no. You get 120 gear from flipping standard world quests. That's basically world quest item level. What level's this? Oh, of course, this is a level 90 character, so it's not going to show very well. The world quests are going to be scaled, but... I guess he's not live. This is a recording. Wait, what? I'm confused. What's World Quest gear at 90? 220-ish, I think. 224 is 2 of 6 adventurer gear. Two 20s, 1 of 6 adventure gear. Yeah. Do we know how much of the abundance currency we can get a week? You can do 8 runs a week. The amount of currency you get depends on how good you are at the abundance minigame. Points mean prizes, so the better you are at the minigame, the more currency you get. The more currency you get, the more fused vitalities you can buy. You only have 8 runs a week to acquire your currency. Professions are still bugged. Nice. Oh, there's bugs all over the place. There's actually bugs all over the place. I still can't really name a profession that I think is like... There's something wrong with basically all of the professions still. I do genuinely think that this expansion launch could be the most buggy one that we've had in like quite a few. Let me... No. I know that, but what is the max per one, I mean? Oh, I don't know if there is... I don't know. The highest I've seen is 1200 currency from a single run. But you can't test it at the moment. It's all broken. Doesn't work. The highest I saw was 1200 unalloyed abundance in a single run. But like I said, I didn't thoroughly test it. Watch abundance be totally bugged and broken at launch. Well, it's bugged and broken now, so I don't have huge amounts of hope that in 48 hours they're going to somehow magically fix it all. I'm quite sure it's still going to be busted. I tested it again earlier, and yeah, you still can't loot or anything. It's still completely broken. They also turned off the transfer currency on it. I don't think you ever could. I don't think you ever could transfer the currency. But yes, you are right that you can't transfer it. I just don't... You could? Oh, okay. Until last week. Why did I log on to my Jewel Crafter? Oh yeah, I wanted to smush some ore and just see if it tallies up with the data I've already got. If I'm going to smush ore, I need to clear my bags of stuff I don't need. Where's the bank? I've done absolutely zero. I've done nothing of any form of constructive anything today. I've been getting back into the swing of streaming and chatting with you guys. I need all of anything that comes from prospecting to go away, so it doesn't get in the way of testing data. See if this tallies up with what we're expecting. Well, maybe this is live. This is live, yes. Have we got... Oh, I mean, resourcefulness doesn't matter for the purpose of tests. We take a stack of copper, break that down and see what we get from it. Glass, gem, stone, gem. Where's the other gem colour? We just not had one proc yet. Where's the blue one? Give me a blue one. And give me a diamond. What is my data for prospecting? More importantly, where's it gone? Prospecting, data collection. So, what am I expecting from this? I'm expecting probably an average of about... There's the blue one. I'm expecting an average of about 3 diamonds from this. There's one. Couple of 100 stone. 150 or so glass. Let's see. 22... Wait, what? 22,000 lumber gathered. Yeah, you've got a pretty hefty stockpile of that stuff. Fair play. They could do something weird as they did in pre-patch. In the PTR pre-patch, they were using a basic ratio of X and Y on resourcefulness. When pre-patch hit live, they changed it. I guess they could do the same now, because it's weird that they're using dragonflight values. I don't know what you mean. Maybe the coffee hasn't kicked in, but I read that twice and it still hurts my brain. Do you think ink and ciphers will have solid demand within early access? Yeah, for sure. Inscription's the one profession that's going to kick off the fastest, I think, because it crafts things that people want super quickly. It crafts missives, professions. It crafts profession missives that all the crafters are going to want to create their tools. It creates contracts. Two things that people are going to want, like, almost instantly. That's an increase in diamonds, for my data at least. We might just be lucky. So we got roughly 20 of each gem. 135 glass is about, which is actually a lot. It's about what I'd expect. Stone seems to be about right as well. 8 diamonds is quite spicy though. 8 diamonds is more diamonds than I've ever got testing copper before. My data that I had on copper previously, I don't think I'd ever got 8 diamonds from a single stack previously. So either we just got really lucky there, or there have been some slight changes to the prospecting rates since, when did I do this? Basically a month ago. Over a month ago. I last tested the prospecting rates. So I might need to scrub this and get some more data in the next couple of days. Question is can I be bothered? Could I just do it when the game's live and we're actually making a profit by doing it at the same time? Possibly, maybe. Okay. So I do suspect a subtle change, maybe to copper. Let me get rid of... Who's a vendor now?
Baladash, Malanore.
the fun one to test now, actually, is going to be thorium, isn't it? They made any changes to this? Prospecting, thorium. Go. Basically, in pre-patch PTR, they were using something like 20% resourcefulness. With the same toon and the same gear, that toon on live pre-patch went to 30% resourcefulness. Same game, same gear, only different build. Now in the PTR, we have 30% resourcefulness, for example. But in the formula, they are using dragonflight numbers. So I think that they could update the formula in live with midnight values. Oh, okay, I start to see. I mean, maybe. I've long since believed that, you know, large sample sizes of like data is kind of pointless before the game's actually live. Because yeah, you're right. Up until the 11th hour, they're still making changes to stuff, so. Purples, blues, greens, reds, diamonds, stone, and glass. I divided blacksmithing into 3 toons in the War Within. I noticed I was getting less weapon patron orders on the toons that didn't have the spec tree unlocked. Not even the first node. Same reverse with the gear one. I swear that's programmed into the game somewhere. That you'll see more patron orders for the shit you haven't unlocked. I swear that's a thing. No, I'm somewhat of the opinion that the game hates you by default until proven otherwise. I'm expecting, for reference here, to get about 40-ish diamonds from 1,000 dazzling thorium. I meant the opposite, to be fair. No, I know what you were saying, yeah. I know that you, like, by not unlocking things, you might get less patron orders that is from that, but I don't know. It's probably some sort of bias, isn't it? In the War Within pre-patch, I was burning out toons first week if they had bad patron orders. It was faster to just get good RNG on new toons than it was to go to catch weekly treasures. I probably. Right, we've already got roughly the amount of diamonds I would expect from a single stack of 1,000. They do look to have tweaked the numbers on diamonds since I last did some testing. The rest of it is all much of a muchness. It does look like they've tweaked the rate of diamonds though. Anybody saw the house, or should I say the spaceship that Preach built in WoW? It was so cool. I didn't pay. I know that they've been doing this housing event thing. I unfortunately didn't pay any attention to it at all. I've literally had my head in the sand for the last 2 weeks. I've I've heard through the grapevine. Not that I like to focus on drama, but I've heard there was a bunch of drama with this housing event. People claiming that others were like stealing designs and doing all sorts of silly things. Because, you know, gamers will do gamer things. Even in something that's meant to be, you know, chilling for entertainment. Right, let's compare these results to what I was expecting to get. Last time I did any prospecting on thorium, we were getting 20 to 30 of each of the gem cuts, which is, if I hadn't got 40 of these, I'd have probably got 20 to 30 of all of it. So that seems to be about right. That doesn't appear to have changed much. What I did get, though, was, once again, a record-breaking number of diamonds. I've never got over 50 diamonds. Now, I know, obviously, my sample size previously was small, but I wasn't doing tens of thousands previously. Stone, 228, yeah, basically the same. Glass, 123. Yeah, basically the same. Even maybe technically slightly nerfed, but maybe I just got... Yeah, okay. Yeah, diamonds seem to have had some subtle changes here. Diamonds do seem to have had some subtle changes. Let me do a stack of tin and a stack of silver.
May the eternal sun guide you.
Prospecting silver. Go. We should be getting blue gems, red gems. Blue gem, red gem, red gem. Diamonds. All I saw from the housing was the end with the voting, and the way it was rigged was so blatantly obvious. You see, this is my point, right? This is why I didn't pay too much attention to it. I try to avoid that kind of drama. I wanted to thank you. Watching one of the VODs, you mentioned the durability on gear. I was racking my brain for a few hours before I heard what you said. Oh, because the item level squish. Yeah, you had to flip in. You had to repair all your gear all the time. I think they fixed that now, though. They ignored the community vote. Typical Blizzard. You mean they use the same voting system the Eurovision does, right? Just ignore what everybody actually votes, and put 80% of the weight of the final result on the a 3-person panel or something. Viewer vote was partly based on who has the most followers. Yeah, I mean, who is the favourite person? Sure, that's kind of... I don't know. Shit like that gets way too serious, way too quick. The viewer votes gave the opposite result that the judges gave. Oh dear. Oh dear. Once I don't mind Soul So Breezy winning. He did spend a lot of time on building. Did he win, did he? They wanted it to be fair, the judges would have done a walkthrough without telling anybody whose house is whose. Well, that's true. Yeah, if they didn't want any sort of, like, content creator bias. Yeah, but I mean, the reality is how do you do that? Because all of these content creators were clearly showcasing what they were doing the entire time. So, anybody paying attention would have known whose was whose. Soul got the judges' vote. Preach got the viewer vote. Only 3% of the votes for Soul. Yeah, I mean, Soul, I mean, sure, he's got nearly 100k subs on YouTube. He's big in that regard, but relative to, in comparison to a Twitch viewership, Preach is 10 times the size. So yeah, not overly surprising. Right, what did we get here then on silver? Compare our silver results quickly. I would be expecting quantity of gems seems the same. 5 to 10 on the diamonds. We got 12. That seems about the same. Yeah, I'm relatively sure they haven't changed much of the data for this. A slight tweak on the diamond rates, possibly, for both thorium and copper. But tin and silver rates, I'm going to hedge my bets and say they're mostly the same-ish. Close enough that I'm not too bothered about redoing all of the sampling in the next few days. I'll wait till the game goes live and we'll do it properly. Am I even going to do any prospecting in early access? I genuinely don't even know if I'm going to do prospecting in early access this time. I'm trying my best to keep my main account relatively process light, if that makes sense. I don't want to be milling or prospecting or mass producing potions. I don't want to be doing any of that on my main account. I want to keep my main account relatively open to actually go out and play the game, do the delves, do the world quests, kill the rares, whatever. It's my 4 bonus accounts that I want to be doing all of the processing stuff, but they don't have early access, and I almost refuse to give them early access. So I don't know how much of this I'm going to be doing in the first few days. To be fair, Preach didn't win, but that far ahead, it got close at the end. Okay. No matter what the shenanigans behind the housing competition, it was still fun to see what they built. Yeah, I mean, you know, this is a good showcase, and it's clearly good marketing, isn't it? It shows what's possible. Shows what's possible. Would you go all 3 epics for a single profession, or just get the epic tool on both? It very heavily depends on what spec you're going with the professions. If you're speccing into anything that's work ordery, you don't need epic tools on a work order build. So give them to the profession that does need them. There's no generic answer to that, unfortunately. You need the nuance. You need the nuance there. If you have 2 professions, let's say you have alchemy and you have jewel crafting, and you're trying to do flasks on one and gems on another, you're just up shit creek. You have to choose which one of those is going to get the epic stuff, right? Because they both could need them, and you can't give them both. So you'd have to consider. The best plan of action is to consider speccing into a different direction on one of them. Alchemy and enchanting. Yeah, alchemy and enchanting, you're probably going to have to go alchemy with something mass crafting and give alchemy all of the epic profession tools because it will benefit from them. But then on enchanting, you might want to go disenchanting because that only benefits from skill and doesn't need the epic tools at all. So you give them all to alchemy first because you go in potions or flasks, and enchanting has the rare ones because it only needs the skill. And then later in the expansion, you can expand enchanting into enchants and eventually give them their epic stuff. You just got to be a little bit more careful about what specs you put together with your professions now. I was thinking to give a tool or gear secondary spec profession on the toons that get BIS in their main multi resourcefulness build profession. Ocean and Flask are a dead market for 10 days. Yeah, but you're not getting your epic tools within 10 days anyway. You might get one of your epic pieces of gear in 10 days. Or at least what it looks like today. At least what it looks like today. You are probably unlikely to get more than one epic profession tool or accessory every 2 weeks. It's gonna feel like similar to a sort of spark pacing on them, because you're just not going to be able to get enough fused vitality. When you need 20 for each item, you need 20 for each item, and each item takes 800 times 20, so that's 16,000 unalloyed abundance per item. Yeah. you ain't getting more than one of these in a 2-week period, really. Why? What am I missing? They buffed it to... Yeah, check out... yeah, they've not only buffed this to 20, they've also doubled the amount it costs. They cost 800 each. They cost 800 each, and you need 20 of them for one piece. So, yeah, you are not getting... You're not getting your full suite of epics anytime soon. Which is why you now have to prioritize giving one profession all of their epics at the cost of your secondary profession living with just blues for a while. This is why they turned off the transfer between toons. Yes, yeah, they've changed the whole system. This is now... They're clearly not putting Moxie on profession tools because they couldn't get it done in time for launch. So this is the band-aid fix in my mind. They've just jacked up the amount of fused vitalities you need for each piece of epic item and doubled the amount each one costs. So they've increased the cost by 40 times. So yeah, kind of spicy. Kind of spicy. Why would you even get the blue tools if you're gonna get the epic on that profession in that instance? Well, you get the tools because they get the blue ones give you the plus skill. On a work order build, you don't really care about the stats, you care about the skill. With a work order build, if you're making profession tools, if you're making endgame gear, you care about skill because you need to push to quality 5 because nobody wants... Who wants quality 4? Nobody. You need the skill to eventually be able to guarantee quality 5. So skill is your number one priority if you're going a work order build. Now, your epic profession gear gives exactly the same skill as the rare profession gear. So work order builds don't need the epics. So you've got to have one profession that goes work orders that can live comfortably with just the blue profession gear. And then your second profession can have, you know, the epic stuff. That's the way you're going to have to play it now. So my scenario, I've got jewel crafting and leatherworking on my main. Jewel crafting will get all of the epic tools. Leatherworking will go work orders, and leatherworking will just have the blues. My second character has enchanting and blacksmithing. Blacksmithing will live with blues. My enchanter will get the epics for crafting enchants. My third character has tailoring and inscription. So tailoring will live with just blues and will craft some profession gear. Inscription will get the epic stuff and probably do, I don't know, contracts or missives or something, I don't know. My fourth character is engineering and alchemy. alchemy will get all the epic stuff, and engineering will live with blues. So I'm really lucky. I'm really lucky that the way I have my professions set out on my characters, I can kind of split them up so that one of the professions gets the epic stuff and the other one doesn't need it. I can kind of split that up nicely. But I'm really lucky that that's happened. If you've got jewel crafting and you've got alchemy on the same profession, for example, you're just shit out of luck, right? Which is a bit, you know, a bit gross. This was one of the things we were hoping to not have to deal with by having Moxie be profession specific. They've completely undone the goodness of that by this Band-Aid fix, which is, you know, kind of 2 days before the expansion's not what you need, but it is what it is. If I was going to get the epic tool, say week 2, will I still get the blue tool day 2? Well, do you want to craft anything the first week? That's up to you. That's genuinely up to you. You know. If you don't do it, you will not be as efficient as somebody else that has done it. Now, in the goblin landscape, that means that you might not make any profit, and they might make the profit. So it's up to you. If you can not do something and still make gold by not doing it, then you don't have to do it. But if somebody else has done it, and the prices get squished to the point where they make profit because they've done something, and you don't make profit because you haven't done it, then you might need to do it. Right? It's difficult to explain, and this is why a lot of the questions that get thrown about professions in general in the beta and stuff are like almost impossible questions to answer, because we don't know what the price of anything is yet. But the general consensus, the default rule, is that if you can do something, you should, because if you don't, somebody else has, and they then have an advantage over you. And in competitive markets, anything that goes anywhere near the region-wide auction house, you're not just dealing with the people on your server, you're competing with everybody in the region. So if you don't do it, not only other people will have probably done it, but loads of other people will have probably done it. There'll be people running around with, you know, 100 plus their full set of blue tools and accessories by the end of day 1 early access. And those people will be able to spend the remainder of their time mass producing things and selling them because of that. If you want any of that gold, if you want any of that early expansion profit, you got to do the things, you got to push your professions to the limit. But you only need to do it in areas where there will be profit, right? You're not going to push gems to max quality day 1 because there's no point. Because who's buying max quality gems day 1? Nobody. Who's buying max quality enchants day 1? Nobody. You'll sell a few of them because some people out there are crazy, but the demand isn't there. The demand's not going to be there for most professions, most markets before the season opens. Enchanting is, you know, it's quite it's a late bloomer because people need gear before they properly enchant it. Jewel crafting is the same. It's another late bloomer, which means you can chill with those professions. You can chill. You can level them up, do it cost effectively. You can sort of like slowly chip away at them, and as long as by the time the raid is open and has been open a little while, you're at the point where you can craft that top quality stuff, you'll be good. You can take it slow. Alchemy is the same, but its demand kicks in a bit earlier because people need the potions and people need the flasks to kill the bosses, right? They need the potions, they need the flasks earlier to kill the bosses, and then when they kill the bosses and they get the loot, then they enchant it, then they gem it. Have you tried to multi-box the abundant? Do the mobs scale 5x like they do in delves, or do they stay at the base health points as the dungeons? I haven't, no, because I haven't bothered to spin up 5 copies of the beta to try any of that sort of stuff. It'll be interesting to play around with in early access though, if we can do it in early access, which I guess we will be able to. I tell you what, we might be able to play around with the abundant system in early access, but we might not get the shards of Dun-Dun, because they are technically a weekly thing. So there's a chance we don't get the shards of Dun-Dun, and so might not be able to get any fused vitality in early access, which would hold off any possibility for people to, like, get an epic piece of gear in early access. If they class that as a weekly thing that they're going to delay. We'll have to see. Somebody focused on collecting mounts. It feels terrible to have such critical goal-making equipment being locked behind the same currency as mounts. Means I need to delay buying the mounts for ages. Oh, just do the abundance on a character. You got to remember that all of this is character specific. So if you want to collect the mounts, just do it on a character that doesn't have professions. It's actually, when you break it down, it's only 24 minutes of gameplay a week. You get to do 8 runs. You can do 8 runs a week, and they're 3 minutes each. It's less than half an hour of gameplay a week. If you have a character that doesn't have primary professions, do it on them, and then spend their points on the mounts. If you have characters that are focused on professions, though, yeah, you're probably going to want to funnel all of your points into the fused vitality. What professions do you want to focus on during early access? I don't know what I'm doing. I haven't got... my head's... Like I said, my head's been so far in the sand the last couple of weeks, like... I haven't really put much of a plan together for my own gameplay. I'm going to, on day 1 of early access, I'm going to level my druid, who has herbalism and mining, and I'm going to pick up anything I see off the map while I slowly chip away at doing the campaign. And hopefully by day 2, I will have a level 90 druid with herbing and mining, with the campaign complete, and adventure mode unlocked for all of my alts. And then by day 2 of early access, I can just decide what I want to do. I don't really know, if I'm honest. I don't really know. I would say that a profession that's going to see strong results day 1 is Inscription. It will see strong results day 1, but I also think it has the highest chance of dropping off just as quick. And you also need to remember that lots and lots and lots of people will do that. The concept, this is why I always really hate telling people what the best is. Because if I turn around, or if, you know, any other content creator in our little bubble turns around and says this is the best, guess what happens? Every motherfucker does it. And what that then results in is that market crashes so goddamn fast it's not even funny. Just like, you know, categorically, and you can clip this and quote it back to me in 3 days' time, herbing and mining in early access will be 20,000 gold an hour by day 3. It's not going to be a money printer like everybody assumes it's going to be. Purely because everybody will be doing it. It will be a money printer for the first 3 hours. But you got 3 hours of farming to do there. For the rest of early access, materials crash really quickly. And unless you're doing something really special, it's probably only going to be like 20, 30, 40,000 gold an hour best. Then we come out of early access and everybody else gets access to it. And everybody else starts leveling their professions and stuff, and it sort of balances for a little bit. And then everything crashes again before we get into the season. Trust me when I say, from the launch of the game to the raids opening and the Mythic Plus season opening is going to feel like forever. It's going to feel like it takes ages. And you'll be amazed just how much people get done. And you'll be amazed at how much markets change in that first, like, 2 weeks of the expansion going live. It's going to feel like forever until the season starts. I'm going to stick mostly to my decor crafting. It served me well enough. Yeah, decor will still do well. Like I said, this is why I'm relatively content with the fact that I haven't got much of a plan of action myself, because I know that I'm still making like 500k a day just relisting my auctions. like from a goal making perspective, I'm already doing fine. I've already got a system that works quite well, and I have no reason to believe it's going to change. So I'm more content taking it relatively chill, to be honest. We'll stream, we'll have a poke about, we'll do some farming here or there, we'll level up a few professions, but I'm probably not going to be like blasting and trying my best to make tens of millions of gold. I just enjoy the beginning of the expansion. That's my plan, really. Tell all that the best profession's going to be alchemy, so they all go in and fail. I mean, that's just mean. My expansion Christmas was 2 months ago. Genuinely, yeah, I genuinely think there's been more gold to be made in the last 2 months because of decor than there might be during, like, the expansion launch. I genuinely do. You've been able to make 50, 60,000 gold an hour for months now. Months. Since December the 2nd, you've been able to basically get about 50 to 60,000 gold an hour just by flying around picking up flipping wood. It's wild how much gold you've been able to make doing that in the last couple of months. And it's going to mean that those people who have been doing that for a couple of months are going to see 30, 40, 50,000 gold at midnight and go, not bothered. You have it. Right, I'll keep chopping wood. I'll keep chopping wood. This is what's very different about the midnight launch. You kind of need the end of the expansion to be terrible for goal making. You need the end of the expansion to be like 5,000 gold an hour if you're doing something clever. You need the end of the expansion to be dog shit. So then when you do 30, 40,000 gold an hour at the expansion launch, it feels like Christmas. Because it's such a massive difference to what you've got used to recently. But the last 2 months, you've been able to farm decor and sell decor and make 50, 60,000 gold an hour, as many hours as you want to do it for, which is going to make it feel really different. It's going to make the expansion launch feel really different for some people. Because you're not going to be making 150,000 gold an hour. You're just not. You're not going to be making 150k an hour doing anything in midnight. Like, herbing and mining it's just, no, it's just not going to happen. Even in the War Within, for the launch of the War Within, the people who had the absolute optimal builds for herbing and mining, who were harvesting flipping 20 null stones an hour, were making 80k? Maybe 100k an hour. And that's because there was something that was stupidly expensive that they had optimized in 100% to get as many of them. And you might, I bet if you go back and you look for videos, you'll find 80, 90,000 gold an hour, and you bet your ass they got 20 null stones in an hour. We're not going to have a super duper 5,000 gold an hour null stone with herbing and mining this time round. We're just not. The dazzling thorium is used for prospecting, which means it has to come down to a price to where it's worth prospecting. This don't go anywhere else. This isn't used anywhere else that matters. So Dazzling Thorium, although it has the same mechanics as a nullstone, doesn't have the actual value to the customer because it's not used anywhere. Herbalism has the Nocturnal Lotus, but same again. It's not used anywhere. It's used in Flasks, but we also know that nobody wants Flasks for 3 weeks. So that's going to be really cheap. Look at how cheap the Null Lotus thing was at the beginning of the War Within. They were like, what, 100 gold apiece? When Null Stones were 5,000 gold apiece. And so, herbing and mining, the gold from that, your 70, 80,000 gold an hour, came from getting lots of Null Stones. That isn't really a thing in Midnight. Your gold in Midnight from farming will come from moats. The herbs and stuff is 20k an hour. Your moats might push it to 40, 50k an hour. That's my prediction, at least, anyway. Loving the YouTube vids, the Discord guides. One question, what would you recommend for somebody looking to make a few 100k to a mil to fund consumables in the Mythic Plus season? Oh, I mean, just easy stuff. Just fly around with herbalism and mining. But, I mean, you'll make that passively as you just play the game for a couple of weeks. If you have herbing and mining. You won't even need to focus on farming. Like, you can make 500k a mil in the first few weeks without really even trying. Just pick stuff up on your travels of doing other things. Because you know, the season doesn't start for 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks. The Mythic Plus season doesn't start for like over 3 weeks. So in that period of time, if you're playing consistently with herbing and mining, or decor, yes, lots of coughing. Like hit trees, craft some decor, sell some decor. Yeah, I mean, you know, a modest amount of gold, a month or two of game time can be done in the first couple of weeks quite comfortably. But I'm talking about the people who are sort of magically expecting there to be 150,000 gold an hour. It just isn't going to be a thing. It's just not. It never is. People have kind of rose-tinted goggles because they remember that there was this 1 hour that they did 120,000 gold, and that they sort of assumed they were doing that every hour. No, you got 20 null stones in an hour and got really lucky, and you made 100k. You weren't doing that consistently. Do we have the reset knowledge points right at the start? No, that's a really good question. There is no way to reset your knowledge points in Midnight. There is no way to reset your knowledge points in Midnight. Or at least, if there is, I've not found it, and nor has anybody else found it and told me it exists. Yeah, there's no way to reset your knowledge points in Midnight. So, don't make mistakes. Don't make mistakes. I'll just wait for the YouTube shorts, you will see. I mean, yeah, like I said, the clickbait will be out there, but the simple fact that you've been able to make 60 to 80,000 gold an hour pretty consistently for the last 2 months is going to make Midnight feel underwhelming for a lot of people. I feel that housing and decor may go into a bit of a backseat for the first month or so, then pick up again. But there are also those players that are playing just for housing. I mean, it would be fun to see just what the sub numbers would be. I'm intrigued to see just how well Blizzard's advertising has done. How much has the Final Fantasy crowd been attracted by Midnight for housing? How much has the Elder Scrolls Online crew, you know, how well has Blizzard done advertising this game to the other sort of like player housing type players. And if we see a flood of people hit the game, just to basically come and tinker with housing, then yeah, I mean, housing will go boom. I have a suspicion that everybody who's into housing is already playing housing. Well, yes, that's definitely true. That's definitely true. Best thing they did with decor is keeping the lumber warbound. It's kept the prices up. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I am. There's no doubt in my mind that that will be. That's really helped. That's really helped having all the lumber warbound. Here's a question. Here's a question. What if we log on tomorrow, and they make fused vitality tradable? What do we think happens if fused vitality ends up being tradable? With the ludicrous amount of it that you need, how much do you think a single one of these will go for if they made it tradable? What value do you think people would attach to just one of these? You need 800 unalloyed abundance. 50k? 5 gold? Well, we know which one of you two is getting your epic gear and which one isn't. If they made this tradable, I can easily see people spending like 10, 20k on these. I'd pay 200k for an epic piece of gear, so like 10k. Yeah. That would be a fun old army situation, wouldn't it? That would be a fun old army situation. Live in abundance. Million alts doing the event every day. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, the fact that I do think that there'd be people out there that would easily pay 200k a piece for these in the first week, if they could. I mean, just look at what some people tip for this sort of stuff in the first few days. You'll get people dishing out like 50k tips in the first few days, and that was back in, that was back with just blue gear. I mean, it's a best in slot, and it will continue to be a best in slot piece of gear, but just for crafting for the entire expansion. If they made these tradable, these would sell for like crazy price the first week. I remember I got paid 150k for the epic enchanting tool at the start with the old invite to guild method. Yeah, people understand the value in the advantage. They understand that, and they'll pay the premium. Don't you think that the cloth farms are going to be ridiculous because of the cloth price? There has to be a way to farm it efficiently. Oh, there is. There's already some reasonably well figured out cloth farms. There'll be plenty of cloth, don't you worry. There'll be plenty of cloth. There'll be loads of it. There'll be loads. Right, boys and girls. Boys and girls. Boys and girls. Boys and girls. I've had a wonderful time. We have we have done the first stream back. We've dusted off the cobwebs. I think I'm going to leave it there for today. I do have a few other bits and pieces I do clearly need to do before expansion launches, before early access begins. We will be streaming same time tomorrow. The dogs are all passed out, look. We'll be streaming the same time tomorrow, and probably the same time every day for the foreseeable future. At least for the first week or so. I have no plans to not do daily streams from here on out. Will you stream the launch? Okay, my launch plans are this. The early access starts at like 1 AM for me. So I am absolutely I'm not entertaining any of that. I'm going to go to bed nice and early on Thursday. and get up nice and early, and we'll just start the stream up a little bit earlier, hopefully on the Friday, and we'll just play. I like the lag fiesta, the fucking login boss. I don't want any of that rubbish. I'm not waiting up until 1 AM to play that game. I'll go to bed nice and early. We'll get up nice and early. I don't feel the value in completely breaking my schedule just for the launch. The 24/7 stream will be on, so you'll be able to get your drops. But there won't be a. I'll go live on the Friday morning, and we'll just play. That's the plan. That's what I'm going to do anyway. Shameless promo time. Jump in the Discord if you haven't already, boys and girls. There is 1 to 100 leveling videos for all of the professions up and ready. They're not all public on YouTube yet, but you can see them all and watch them all if you want a heads up. They're in the Discord channels. You'll find in each of the mini guides my 1 to 100 leveling videos for all the professions are up. So if you want a bit of a heads up, you want to put a shopping list together for your professions or something, you can see all of these for the different crafting professions. These are all up and running already. Some example builds for the professions, a bit of an overview of the spec trees and whatever. Jump in the Discord, have a read through these if you are so interested. Make sure if you do watch any of the videos, you give them a thumbs up. YouTube algorithm it. Or just, play them on repeat with 1% volume or something. Do us a solid. There's likely to be a bit of a flood of videos on the YouTube channel over the next few days as I make everything public before the launch. So, of course, same rules apply. Even if you don't feel the need to watch the video all the way through, just, jump on it, give it a thumbs up. It helps. At this point of the expansion, it helps push the algorithm in the right direction. But yeah, have a little read through these. There's an ask a questions section for any. Have a little bit of a look through here for sort of frequently asked questions stuff. There's some good info in here. But yeah, we're getting close to launch now. We're getting close. I'm not going to open DMs on stream, Jack. I'm not that mental. Give me gold. Right, yeah, let's see. But yes, boys and girls, thank you very much for joining today. It's been an enjoyable first stream back. Do we have... Let me... Do we? Hang on, please hold. Flipping hell, there's 8 of you over on Team YouTube. Fair play, Team YouTube. I appreciate that. Thank you. I'm going to throw you over to the 24/7 channel. Make sure you give the 24/7 channel a like as well. Dick pics. No. I throw you all over to the 24/7 channel. I wonder what I'm doing over there today. Oh, we're tinkering with leveling jewel crafting by the looks of things. Yeah. Right, boys and girls, thank you for stopping by. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'll catch you all tomorrow. Peace.